Welcome to Taking Care of Lady Business, where we put the business back in lady business. Hosted by Jennifer Justice, founder and CEO of the Justice Department, a management strategy and law firm that works with female and woke male entrepreneurs, executives, talent, brands, and creatives to build and maximize their wealth, focusing in the areas of tech, consumer product, finance, media, entertainment, and fashion. Jennifer interviews entrepreneurial women who have done it all, who will be sharing their secrets on all things business, especially as a woman. These highly successful women will share strategies and insights, including what not to do and what it takes to win. And now, here's your host, Jennifer Justice.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Taking Care of Lady Business. I am Jennifer Justice. Today, we have the amazingly talented producer, artist, DJ, TOKiMONSTA. Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm so excited. And, for those who are not here, we are in Ibiza, also known as Ibiza, Spain. And so we have a very beautiful backdrop here. I want to first get into, what you do and your background, how you got into DJing, producing, etc.
Yeah, so as far as I wear many hats, including one right now. But the main thing that I do is I make music and then I DJ. As far as making music and producing, that's something that came out of just having such a deeply rooted love for music, like consuming music, listening to music, and then one day I decided I think I can do that.
Really?
So I downloaded a DAW, got a I think my first one was Fruity Loops, which was not as revered as it is now, but now it seems to be a lot more popular. So I was in college, I downloaded it, started making beats, sort of found a community of other producers, started going to LA to share my beats with other people that were my peers, including artists like Flying Lotus, and we sort of created a scene from that. And fast forward, the main way to kind of perform instrumental electronic music or hip-hop music was through DJing, so I actually started DJing because of that.
Okay.
I was never like a career DJ. I never wanted to be a DJ. I wanted to make music, and now it's like I kind of love both, and I feel that they're both very different and dynamic skills that I've had to learn to kind of work on, but yeah, and then here we are.
So, and now, that's it. Easy, right? No big deal. But where were you living at the time? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in LA.
Okay.
Yeah, a suburb called Torrance. Not a super exciting place, but
But, obviously, as we're here right now, we're in IMS. It's, full of people in dance music, DJs. It's predominantly a male, business.
A lot of dudes.
Yeah, so tell us about getting into that and as a woman and your experience in that.
Yeah, I've been making music now for basically 20 years, which is kind of crazy. And when I started making music, it was predominantly hip-hop based, and there are not a lot of female hip-hop producers. So in the scene in LA, I was kind of the only one, and also I'm Asian, so there's not a lot of Asian female hip-hop producers. And if you did see any kind of, female producers in hip-hop, there was kind of like an aesthetic that people respected. So if you looked more feminine, then people just didn't take you very seriously. Mm-hmm. But I basically earned my way up from the bottom. I was like, I'm going to show you guys that my beats are fire.
Yeah.
And so then I would go out every week to Leimert Park in South LA and be amongst everyone in this like very niche hip hop scene and bring a CD with my beats on it and play it, and everyone would be like, "What? Like this girl?"
Yeah.
And even though there were a lot of naysayers and a lot of people saying very unpleasant things about my music, whether I even made it or not, things like that, I just persevered.
They were questioning if it was you?
100%, all the time. There's an ongoing rumor that two. One that I had a ghost producer, so I didn't make any of it. Another one was that I had a boyfriend that taught me how to do everything, which is completely untrue.
Yeah,
unless my boyfriend is YouTube, then yes,
We're all dating YouTube.
Yeah.
It's funny, I was at a dinner last night and somebody was telling me a story. A man, he was saying that like every time he, puts beats forward and it's a female producer, they said, who did this? Who helped her with it? Mm-hmm. And he points out to them, you never say that to me when it's a man. you've never, and which is great because that's what you have to do. You have to call out that misogyny, and half the time they don't even realize they're doing it. You know what I mean? So we say it once and like, okay, I got it. But that was the story from last night.
Yeah, that it's baked in, that disbelief, this subtle just existence of misogyny in production specifically, or just any music tech, right? Female engineers, female music producers. People just assume they're not as good, or they're not really doing it, or maybe they participated. The thing is, there are female producers that do have co-producers, but there are male producers that have ghost producers.
Yeah.
A lot of very famous male producers have ghost producers that don't make any of their music.
Exactly.
But then no one's really going after them the way that they do with women, and with women in particular, the assumption is immediately that she didn't really make that.
Right. So do you feel like you've had to work much harder to get to where you are?
Yes. Yeah, I think, it's one of those things where when I was starting, there was a lot of different ways to approach music. Like, did I want to be, a more scantily clad DJ, and get attention that way? And I feel a lot of women felt like they needed to do that, which is not like a bad thing. If that's like what you want to do, then that's fucking amazing.
Yeah,
right?
if you can own it and it's authentic to you.
Yeah, exactly. But for me, I just felt as though like I wanted to lead with my best foot forward and really represent who I am. And so that meant it was going to take longer for me, and it did. I think I could have taken a lot of shortcuts to, get to higher places much quicker, but I just wanted to really represent the earnest, respectful person that I wanted to be, and I wanted to be that representation for women that young women could look towards, in which I never wanted to be a role model ever.
Right.
But then as my career kind of grew, I realized that was a responsibility I had to take on, and I then took on,
Right. It's funny, we were on a panel yesterday and we were asked the question, do you feel it's a responsibility that you have as an obligation, to be kind of like a mentor, visible, an inspiration? My answer was, I do because I'm super passionate about it. I really think that the world would be a better place when wealth is distributed evenly amongst genders, and we don't have this massive gender gap in pay, which is 80%. This is the United States. Women make at most 80%, and Native American women make like 40% of what men make in general in their paychecks and pay equity. How that is okay with anybody, I have no idea. And I feel like the more we talk about it, the more people understand the statistics, because there's a lot of statistics that are just not shared all the time, or people don't know, or why would you ask if you don't? It's not affecting you, which is all okay. But once you know it and once you see it, you can't unsee it, and silence is complicity. So like being able to get out there and be kind of a voice for other people, while it can be extremely challenging, and I always feel sometimes I'm like 2 up and 1 down every day. I'm just like, yay, I want all these great things, and then okay, great, now one of my clients got fired, for nothing. And so it's a constant like struggle of doing that. So, and if you take it on and you don't want to do it, then you're resentful of where you.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned this idea of it being a responsibility and an obligation. It is both of those things.
Yeah.
Like when I set out to be an artist, I didn't want to be I am not a role model in many ways, but I realized that I didn't have any female role models, and people ask you like constantly, the press is like, oh, who did you look up to? And
I know, same, yeah.
I was like, no one. like influential producers are all men, but that's just circumstantial. That's all that was around.
Yeah.
And there's all these statistics talking about how people truly benefit from diversity.
Yeah, of course.
And this is across the board, whether it's like gender, race, etc. And even though I don't set out to be a role model, I know that that's what I have become for a lot of people, and so I want to take that into consideration with everything that I do. That I'm the most authentic version of myself, and that like I'm not going out saying that I am one. I just choose to be a role model. I just know that I am one.
Right.
So I think leading by example is just a strong way to prove to everyone that women are very capable, and I don't want to be given handouts just because I'm a woman as well.
Right.
I feel like that's not progressive. Like, give people what they deserve. And if there's a male and a female and they're both really good, consider both.
Yeah.
You know? And if I'm in a situation where my male peer is significantly better at me than something, and he deserves it, then perhaps he deserves it, you know? But if I'm just as good as someone, or if I'm even better, please consider me and look at what I'm putting forth instead of looking at my gender and assuming all these things that make me somehow worth less.
Right.
You know, the music is just as good, then fuck with the music.
Yeah.
You know?
All right, so you have this great career we've been talking about, obviously as a producer, artist, DJ, and then you decided to start a company, like you weren't busy enough. So tell us about Sona and what it is.
So Sona is a tech startup that I co-founded with Laura Jaramillo, who's also speaking later. Oh, she's in the back.
Yeah.
So basically, it is a protocol and client marketplace for music. I want to try to think of the most concise way to explain it. It is a streaming platform that allows you to the regular person to stream all music for free that we have available, in which we've cleared like millions, like over 40 million songs for our platform. So it'll be free for anyone. That you create a login, you can do that. On the underside, on the flip side, we have a marketplace and a collecting side. So if I wanted to invest in an artist, I could essentially buy one of the streaming rights to their songs within our ecosystem and support that person. And I know it sounds kind of convoluted and confusing the way that I'm explaining it, because I'm a very confusing person in general. But essentially, if you had a song and you wanted to maybe fund something else, let's say you have songs and then you want to fund your next album, maybe you want to put one of your songs up for sale just on Sona. You can put it up for sale. I can bid on it. I can win it. From that, I now have the royalty tokens for your song. And on our platform, your streaming revenue will now come to me. And the streaming revenue comes from transaction fees across the entire client and protocol. So anytime you buy stems or anytime I buy your NFT, there is a transaction fee associated with that. And that's pooled and redistributed to all the artists based on a revenue share percentage of your streams versus other people on the platform.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like the Spotify model, right?
It's kind of, it's like, I think Apple does that, the pro rata rev share, you know, so it's not a price per stream, it's just kind of like the percentage versus the entire pool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically if you wanted to, then I could then buy your streaming revenue just on Sona. And the reason why this is such a great platform and a great concept is because there's no IP involved. You're not selling off your IP. You're not having, you know, you're not fractionalizing your master so that like 1,000 people own a piece of it. I find that not really practical, but just within our platform, just the streaming revenue will go towards someone else that decided to invest in you early. And that also gives fans a way to invest in the artists that they truly believe in. And let's say in I don't know, even 10 years, maybe even a year from now, you are as big as Beyonce. I know that I helped contribute to that by buying one of your royalty tokens early on in your career.
So what was the impetus to start the company?
I think that there is this, I mean, I talk about this often lately, there's like this opportunity cost with payment lag, and there's this like very convoluted way in which musicians are paid, and we love music, and yet we don't reward the people who create these songs that mean so much to us, you know. That viral song on TikTok, that person is still possibly working, flipping burgers, you know, and their song might have 40 million streams perhaps, and they can't even pay the rent. That to me doesn't seem right. And streaming in general is just meant to combat piracy in an age of Napster and stuff like that.
Right.
So you can't make music like inherently more valuable than it is already, which now music cost-wise, no one's going to go back and start paying for songs again like they used to.
Right.
Like no one, there's a whole generation that doesn't even know how to pay for an MP3. You know?
Oh, yeah.
And so...
my kids have actually looked at like a CD player and they go, what is that?
Yeah,
or
I know.
you know what they said? An actual speaker, you know, one that just doesn't, that you don't say, hey, Alexa.
Yeah.
They were like, what is that for? They just turned 10. They're like, what is this? And I was like, oh my God, it's called a speaker. They're like, but you can't talk at it. You know what I mean? They're like, their generation's called Alpha. Yeah. So they really are like, pay for music,
Yes.
you know?
So you can't go
go
back
yeah.
like that. So the thing you can do is go forward, and it's like, maybe you're used to paying $9.99 for unlimited songs. How about free $99, you know? but then you create new ways of inherent value in the music that isn't just paying for it like that. So now it's kind of like slightly investing in a song, but it also could be like not investing. The main thing is that you're contributing in a way to an artist that you believe in. And it is a new model. I think that it's disruptive while not breaking the existing music industry, which is obviously very deeply entrenched in the way that it does things. You know, everything's very convoluted as is very apparent.
Yeah.
But I would say I can't wait to see, because, you know, I can have my songs on Spotify too, still, but I can also have them on Sona, and it's a different way for you to see how you can make money off music, and also a different way to consume music, because we're going to be more curator forward. We're going to also reward curators, which you don't see right now on things like Spotify. You have these like playlists with like millions of followers, like the non-Spotify curated ones, and that person doesn't get anything. They just get to know that they have a popular playlist.
Right. There's no like compensation for that. There's no. Okay, so are the songs that you have already and the people that are coming to you, are there artists that don't have label or publishing deals? Is that?
It really depends, because like we have also talked with many publishers, distributors, major labels, etc. It's really up to, if you do have like a label deal, it's really going to be up to the label if they want to participate. We're going to start with independent labels and independent artists first, but a lot of labels are pretty down.
Yeah.
And then maybe just through seeing our model succeed, maybe the majors will want to participate. But we're not going to do what the existing streaming platforms are doing, which is they paid a bulk sum to a lot of these majors to be like, let me.
And equity, a lot of equity.
Exactly. We're not doing that.
Right.
You know, it's like you want to come and play, but we're not going to pay you to come and play with us. You know.
Right. So how does it work? You know, you're talking about the lag time. So, you know, somebody buys into my song. No one will want to buy my song, trust me.
Yes,
but somebody buys into.
I'll buy her song.
Somebody buys into my song, and you buy it. Let's say you buy it for $5. When do I get that money?
If I buy the royalty token for your song, you get it immediately.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the streaming revenue is every 2 weeks, or whichever way you want to do it. It goes straight to your account, so it'll be fast. But streaming in general does pay out quicker than other forms of like, you know.
No, they pay the labels.
Oh yeah, this is true.
and then the label pays.
This is true.
You know,
so I guess there's only so much that we can do right now as we launch our beta, but then that's kind of like labels need to get their shit together kind of stuff. I mean, I also have a music label, and we try to be very conscientious of paying people on time, because even just a month late, people are like living paycheck to paycheck. If you don't pay them on time, then again, who's going to pay for your rent, your phone, whatever? You know, your mom's in the hospital. You need to pay people on time. The least you can do is, if someone works, is pay them on time. Yeah.
So when you came up with this idea, like, how did you do it? I mean, you know, there's a fact that I actually was just telling somebody in the room that women only get 2% of venture funding. And if you're a woman of color, it's 0.5%. So that means the amount of meetings that you're taking in order to make, you know, raise any money, you can do the math on that. Like, it's a significantly higher amount of meetings to get your first check-in, right? And you had no experience with starting a company at this point, other than the record label, et cetera.
Not anything, not like a C
Corp. A tech-enabled, like C Corp.
Learn a lesson.
And so how did you meet your co-founder? How did you guys put that together?
I met my co-founder on an airplane. She was a complete stranger sitting in front of me. And then we found out we had mutual friends. It's this whole thing, but like we met because I had this like elderly Floridian couple next to me that was asking about this was on the way to Art Basel, and they're just chatting up a storm with me, just asking like, what is there to do at Art Basel? What about parties? And she actually chimed in saying that she was going to this like FWB party. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but I just told her, oh, you should put them on the guest list. And she was like, what? But I don't know how to do that. And then from there, I found out we had a mutual friend. He said, you guys should be friends. He actually came up with the rough concept, and I just was like, this is amazing. And I don't really back a lot of new technology in music. I think that so many ideas out right now are not practical, but when she had said it, I think the most simplest ideas are the most beautiful, and this is it.
Right.
Yeah.
But you guys base it on blockchain?
Yes.
Yeah.
So underneath the hood, it's all rooted in blockchain, but we're not like a blockchain company. We are a music company using the technology in blockchain to kind of fuel the way that our ecosystem works. And I think that's kind of the most practical way of using blockchain, and also it doesn't have to be like crypto company, like the
Right. It's
technology
like
is important.
transparency.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
it's always like we'd been talking about that when I was at Rock Nation for a long time about like, why can't you just see when somebody played your song in a Japanese, like, you know, bodega, you know? Like, why can't you see that immediately when it happens? Because we've digitized everything. And then, you know, you know, how you get paid and who owns it. You know, I worked in hip hop from the majority of my career. You can imagine, like, with a sample, you know, the producer bringing in the sample or a vocal sample and clearing all of that. And that song had 10 owners on the songwriting. And then Jay-Z had a portion and, like, trying to like negotiate all of those different rights, et cetera. But, you know, and once you put them somewhere where it's transparent, you know, and then it gets all lost in the shuffle. After a period of years, you know, things were written down originally. It's like, how do you know? Where's that one central place to know who owns what?
Exactly, and everything's automated. Like, technology is crazy. Look at all this AI stuff, you know? Like, why can't that just be automated, easy? I mean, in some countries, like, they're just manual. You just get, like, 18 sheets of paper saying, like, where your song has been played. That's not realistic.
Exactly.
You know?
So this is more like for a transparency play on the block.
It's transparency, it's efficiency. You know, one thing I noticed even with songwriters, they get paid last. You know, they have to wait the longest. There's like several people on a record. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the future is now, you guys. Like, there's so many things that we can be doing to allow for a more egalitarian ecosystem for musicians so that they can create music. Because that's all we want. Like, your favorite artists, it would be great if they can keep making the music that you love, right?
So when you put together this plan, right, and the deck to like start the company, who did you go to? How did you raise money?
Oh, I mean, Laura had her resources, and then I had some resources. So just from being in music, I knew people that were investing. She has a background in tech and crypto, so she knew people that were also investing in lots of ventures. And so we kind of just pooled our network of people, and we're like, hey, we have an idea. You want to take a meeting? And you know, we're lucky to be around so many people that are allies, because everyone, for the most part, was very curious to hear what we had to say.
Yeah.
And we are two smart cookies, and we were able to answer every question and present everything in a way that was very comprehensive. And yeah, I don't know. I'm just really grateful that we were able to get funded like that.
And how much money did you raise?
We raised close to $7 million for our seed.
I mean, that's like, if people are familiar, like, that's a really big seed round.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. And now we're trying to like raise our Series A, and it's just incredible, the group of people. We went from just her and me and an idea that she like sputtered on Twitter to, you know, now like 14 or 13 full-time employees, you know, and we have 401ks. Everyone has health insurance and dental and, you know, work from home stipends and wellness stipends, you know.
And where's the company based?
I think it's incorporated in Palo Alto.
No, but I mean, like, where do people live? You know?
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
And so it's all remote, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like unlimited PTO. So as long as you do what you are supposed to do for us, then you can do it anywhere. You know?
Right. So it's a very forward-thinking company as well.
And everyone's happy, and everyone's doing such a good job. And honestly, so stoked. Like, 'cause I've never been a part of something that felt this cohesive, and I don't know, just everyone on our team is so invested in just wanting to help other artists. There's like this very giving component. Very altruistic. Mm-hmm. Every single person on there is like, I'm so happy to be a part of this because I love music, and I know that musicians struggle.
Are the people on it, are they like you're mostly engineers or in the music industry or a combination?
A mixture. So we have our seasoned music industry folks, which would be me, you know, like Lewis, for example, our business development, Kufu. We have two amazing designers that are in control of like the entire aesthetic, because our product is really fucking cool looking. And then all our devs, like, you know, our iOS dev, our, you know, full stack, front end, all that stuff, which gets a little bit more confusing, you know, for me, but
extremely techy. Did you learn all of this like since that, or did you know what kind of components you needed? Because that to me, like in a tech company, is always so fascinating. It's like, how do you know who to hire, and how do you know they're good? Like, if you don't do it yourself, an engineer, et cetera.
I mean, the good thing is Laura has more of a techie background,
Yeah.
and then I have more music industry, so we're able to kind of divide and conquer in terms of the things that we need. Because to do a music product, you have to be in the music industry.
Yes.
And so we're able to nail that side. And she comes from design and tech and programming, so she was able to nail that side. We also have Shama, who is also a mutual friend of ours, who is co-CEO, that was able to sort of lead us on this journey as well. And it was very helpful to have someone with a lot of experience sort of leading a company.
Yeah, organizational. Yeah.
Yeah, she helps a lot, because otherwise we wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be like,
Shout out to
I don't know what I'm
Shama.
doing.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and when did you raise the money? How long ago was that?
I think that was last July.
Amazing.
Yeah.
How many meetings did you have to take to raise it?
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you look at my calendars, it's like a meeting. And then, but you get so good at it. It's like you like exercise a muscle in your brain.
And then you know exactly who's interested or not within the first 5 minutes.
Yeah. Most people were interested, and then you had these naysayers or people that wanted to sort of push these like very challenging questions, and you have all the answers. You know?
Right. But, you know, look, I know from knowing people in private equity that they think investing in the music industry is insane because there's a lot of bloated salaries and, you know, we take a lot of risks on new talent and, you know, throw money at them and big labels, et cetera, and, you know, don't invest in the talent they have. So I know people who, like, think it's absolutely insane when people invest in something around the music industry, you know, so it's great that you found the right people, the people who really believed in it, who, you know, understand the growth and the challenges in the music industry. But, you know, the music industry is changing too, and how they want to approach artists because, you know, social media democratized everything, right? And the artists could talk to their fans directly without needing an an intermediary, and it blew everything up.
Yeah, that's the big discourse right now in music, the democratization of music. Right?
Yeah.
So now everyone can also make music. It's really easy to go and, you know, buy a MIDI keyboard. You don't even need a MIDI keyboard. You can use like the keyboard on your laptop or your computer or your phone. You know, so everyone has access to music. Everyone has access to making music. And what can we do to kind of facilitate things so that, you know, the playing field is fair for everyone? Because like someone in Ghana might not have the same, you know, access as someone that's living in LA, even if they're at a socioeconomic barrier, you know, just because of general access. And with Sona right now, I mean, in some of these, I think in South America and in Africa, they do, like, Spotify is not really as much of a thing there. Like most people are streaming off YouTube actually for music, and so we're trying to create this platform where they can stream music now, you know, and we're just gonna all benefit as an entire community from that. As someone who loves music and someone that appreciates new sounds, your favorite musician might not be heard yet, and they might not be able to ever be heard if they don't have access to music consumption or creating. You know.
So when these artists come on and they don't have the support of like a label, et cetera, do you guys help marketing them? How do people cut through the noise to actually know who they like and find that person,
Yeah, I think
artist?
we're going to, you know, have some more social outreach components to our company and at large, you know, things that we can do where we could invest in up-and-coming artists and do our part in helping the community in that way. It's great because we have a product that will pay for everything, you know, and we can just use that money to fund these great initiatives so we can help people that are, you know, in marginalized communities really see if, you know, achieve their goals if they want to create music. Yeah, I don't know, it's just really...
Wait, if all the music's free, how is Sona making money, by the way?
Transaction fees.
Okay.
So those are all pooled, and there's a portion of that goes out towards the artist, and then we need to operate, so some of that goes back into the company.
Yeah, I would assume so.
And there'll be a point in which that pool is just so large, we don't need that much money to operate as a company, and that's the way that we think. We want to make a company that's profitable, but the excess of money should go back into the community. You know, the excess of money should go back into creators and what we can do to help people. So that's sort of the grander vision for me.
And what is the feature of Sona?
I don't know, just like we all want, as a part of this company, to just be able to support culture in any way possible. And if someone's like, you know, we have a music program that was defunded by the government, we want to fund you. If you guys need, if you're a small, cool collective in Mongolia and you guys need CDJs, we want to pay for them and give them to you. And I don't know, that's kind of where I see the grander scheme. And then we're going to keep working on Sona. We have a client. Hopefully people want to still listen to music. And I forgot to mention is that we also play nicely. So if Spotify wanted to use us as their Web3 strategy, they can plug into our protocol. You know, if you're a label and you want to create your own micro streaming platform, you can plug into our protocol. It's for anyone.
Oh, so it's like a white label as well?
It can be, yeah. And so our client is our first client that we're coming out with is sort of an example of how you can use our protocol in our marketplace. But we're hoping that other people will plug in and use it, and it'll be like a whole thing.
Will you expand beyond like music with other forms of?
I think so. We think about that too, because the model can work for like film and beyond. I don't know why I suddenly can't remember. I don't know, video games, all the things. I think that we'll test it with music and go from there.
And are you guys launched yet?
Soon. Our website is launching in 2 weeks. It's a very cool website. And I think we're going to launch beta just like looking for answers. I'm not like a date person, but soon. Yeah, like a couple months or something like that.
Right.
Very soon.
And how are you going to get the word out there? Like you have the 40,000 songs. Where did those come from? And how are you,
We cleared them. We did the music industry thing. That's why it was good. So we had our like music industry side, we like the Orchard or whoever, like we talked to all these distributors and publishers, ASCAP, everyone. So I'm not in charge of how we got the library of things. She's a part of that, but we do have a lot of music. And so like the label that I own, for example, will be on Sona and use that as kind of a use case, proof of concept for other labels that want to also end up on there.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So not only now you're like a producer, artist, DJ, you're also, a founder of a tech company.
Yep. Not me.
Yeah.
Lots of hats.
Yeah, lots of hats with all your spare time, right?
Yeah. I don't know. When these opportunities arise and you feel passionate about something, how can you say no?
Well, look, I mean, starting a company, it takes a lot. Like, everybody has great ideas, but to actually go through and start and build a deck and find a co-founder and raise money when, the statistics I just said about 2% of women getting venture funding and, the hundreds and hundreds of meetings, and then now you're also having to be part of a team where you're managing, a team of engineers in an area that like you probably know more now, but and to speak the language and try to like build a whole product. I mean, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Especially taking on an industry that loves to stay the same.
Exactly. Again, I feel like we're really fortunate because even our investors, they want us to succeed. They provide us with all the tools that we need, whether even reading, for example, like books on venture capital.
Right.
And they're just like, hey, you guys should read this. And I don't know, I don't want to say lucky, but we really surrounded our company with people that are just as progressive as us, that really believe in us, and I think that we don't want to let them down, so we've been just very on top of everything so far, and even timeline-wise, we're good. Everything is this is the most ideal situation, I think, for anyone with a startup. It's not easy. I've seen other people try to start businesses like this, and they'd fail, but this was just the perfect combination of the right people, the right time, the right circumstance, the right product, and we got this far.
So how are you able to keep your creative process when you were doing on the business side? Because I've spent my entire career marrying art and commerce and representing artists, and I know that a lot of times when it comes to the business side of things, they become totally paralyzed and can't continue creating their art. So it's like you have one time where they can, be artists, right? And then I was always very, very strategic when I would go to Jay when he was recording about when I could talk to him about a business deal.
Yeah.
Because it's just was too paralyzing, right? It's like I'm in this creative brain right now.
Yeah. It is actually quite difficult, I'm finding now. And, when I'm working on music and I'm really motivated, I will be in the studio for 12 hours straight. I'll forget to eat, forget to use the restroom, forget to drink water. I'm just so focused on creating this song. And when I'm working on strategy for Sona or even the music label, it's a very different part of my brain that I'm using.
Yeah.
So I'm finding that a lot of things now are affecting my creative output. Some of it is not even has nothing to do with Sona or the label. Sometimes it's just because I'm touring too much.
Yeah.
Sona is the solution for that. As an artist, I mentioned at the very top of this conversation, I was not a career DJ. I wanted to make beats, I want to make music. And so music, obviously not being a significant income resource, it's touring. So I can DJ and I can pay for my lifestyle, but constantly being on the road has really burned me out. And I've had several instances of very severe burnout where I was like, I don't even want to do this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And how awful is it that you start to resent the thing that you love the most?
Right.
And so if we can start paying artists what they deserve for their music, then maybe they don't have to go on TikTok or like, you know, I didn't start making beats so that I have to do like TikTok dances, which I'm never gonna do. But you know, so it's like I make music. It's like please like support me in making music, so that I don't have to like try to do all this other shit that I don't really want to do. You know, though I do love touring. It'd be nice to maybe not have to do it so much, you know.
Right.
I'm not a Diplo. I can't like do it all the time.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. So basically, Sona is you created the product that filled the white space for you.
I think it spoke to me because of the experiences that I have endured, as well as kind of what I've seen with other artists. You know, like how the way in which that they're struggling, and what can we do? Why are we struggling? And no one's coming up with a solution.
Right.
Yeah.
I love it.
Solutions are great, you guys. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so we got to wrap it up here soon, but I always ask one question at the end of my podcast, and that is, what is the worst advice you've ever received?
So I thought about this. The worst piece of advice I ever received was to be like everyone else. You know, as a musician, they're just like, well, you know, like dubstep's real popular, you should just do that. And I was like, no, that's not what I do. And, you know, the music I make, now it seems to be more accessible, but when I first started making music, this kind of beat electronic stuff was completely new and people didn't know how to categorize it. It was confusing. I didn't know how to even describe it to people. And I realized that even though my career has been slow and steady, it's been steady.
Yeah.
And I never sacrificed my creative output and my vision, even if my music is weird. Weird is cool, and weird means that no one else sounds like you're kind of weird. And if I made music that anyone else was making, I would just sound like them, and no one needs another version of something that already exists. So
yeah, I mean that you would get advice for an artist to be like everyone else,
or just like, why don't you? It's more subtle though. It's not that direct. They're like, why don't you try doing this, or like, why don't you try like implementing these things, which is like something that's very trendy.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I was like, no.
Right.
Yeah.
Authenticity. That's the key. That's the key.
It's tough to be yourself, but honestly, at the end of the day, your uniqueness will set you apart. And yeah, the struggle is real because like people don't like change, but you're going to be that change that really sparks a whole generation of creativity and newness, you know.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right, so you've added many hats. Where can people find you if they want to know all about everything you're doing and they heard about here?
I guess TOKiMONSTA.com. That's easy. And then Sona.stream.
Right.
Sona, if you want to sign up for a waiting list. It's a cool-looking website. And then our sign-up list and website will come out. If you want to be one of the beta users, you guys should sign up. So.
Amazing. Thank you for being on this episode of Taking Care of Lady Business. Until next time, I'm Jennifer Justice.